Okay, now some shredded chicken. So more of the shredded chicken. They're giant shreds. Don't know why I expected them to be smaller. I'm going to weigh these as I do them so I can get about 2 pounds on a tray. I'll kind of break them up a little bit first. Make sure they're not frozen together too much. Whee! The shredded is kind of a lot harder to get it on there because they're such big chunks. They tend to stick up a bunch, but they dried real well, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to try to see if I can stuff 2 pounds on there again. Okay, so I'm going to just stuff it all on there, see how much I got to work with, and see how tough it'll be. Okay, nailed it, 2 pounds. So that's what I need to try to get onto the tray. Okay. Well, half an ounce over. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so now that I got 2 pounds on the tray, now I've got to try to kind of push it into all the corners and all the voids so that it'll fit in the space in the freeze dryer. Oh, and I'll try to put thermometers in amongst it. I can't put it inside most of the pieces, but I might even be able to do a little bit of that. And to get a thermometer into the food, I'm going to drill one of the bigger chunks. That's a nice big chunk. So I'm going to try to go right into the middle there. Okay, then put that in there and get it onto the tray in about the right spot here. And that'll give me some indication of when it's dry inside. All right, so it's pre-chilled. It's 29 below already. All right, so it's going in. With the freeze drying finished, I opened the drain valve. Now I can open the door. And the shredded chicken. All right, so check the very thickest parts, make sure that they're dry in the center, because these were awfully thick and big. So if there's any damp spots, then it needs to go back in. So far, very crumbly. Okay, nice and warm inside. All right, with the shredded chicken, it's about 125 grams to a pound after it's dried. So after it's tared out, it's about 126 grams. That's what I expected. 125, 126. All right, again, checking, make sure the thickest parts are dry. And it looks great. Okay, so adding the oxygen absorbers, using the 500cc one, push out any of the extra air. So for dinner, I'm going to rehydrate some of the shredded chicken breast pieces, and then we're going to add taco seasoning and have it in shells. So I've got 2 pounds of the chicken breasts before they're dried. It's 125 grams a piece. After it's dried, I'm going to use the chicken broth for rehydrating. And get the oxygen absorbers. And these are from just 3 months ago, but we got a good deal on a big box of them, so instead of leaving them in the freezer, we freeze dried them. It only needs about 658 grams of liquid to go back in to get it back to the 2 pounds. But I'm going to use the whole 850 or 60 that this is, because this needs to have some extra liquid when you cook it. So I'll put that in there now and let it soak until dinner time, because it's a few hours. So I'm just going to put this whole thing in the refrigerator and let it sit until it's dinner time, and then I'll add the taco seasoning and put it on the stove. So I'll give this a stir a few times while it's sitting there to make sure that all the pieces get well rehydrated. I'll put a lid on that, put it in the refrigerator until it's time to heat it, and then I'll add this to it. All right, so it's rehydrated for a while. There's a little bit of water that hasn't been absorbed, which is with the plan. In fact, I think I'm going to add a little bit more, because you're supposed to cook this down for a while, so it has time to really combine. So I'm going to add about 1/4 cup. All right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of water. So I'm adding about 1/2 cup of water, and then heat it. Right, so let that heat, and that's all it needs. Okay, I'm going to add some rice to this meal. So I've got some freeze-dried rice, and I need about 3/4 cup of water for each cup of rice. Maybe a little bit less if I wanted a little drier for putting in shells. Okay, I've got 2¼ cups of water. I'm going to heat that. And then I've got about 3 cups of the rice left in here. So I'm going to add that as soon as it gets boiling, turn it off and cover it. It's kind of like minute rice. Okay, it's just come up to a boil. I've got the 3 cups of rice in there. And get the oxygen absorber out of there first. I'm going to turn it off and stir it all in, and then cover it. Okay, and that's it for that. All right, that's been simmering for a few minutes now. Just trying to drive off some of the moisture that was put in for the seasoning. And it's almost there. And it's very tasty. So it's ready to go. You either do shells or a bowl or however you want it. We often do both. Some people with shells, some people with bowls. Okay, so, and that's how some people like to have it, with slathered in mistakes of corn. Okay, so what do you have? You have rice. Corn, rice, okay, oh, rice, then chicken, then onion, then corn, tomato, salsa verde, and sour cream. So you have rice, beans, and the chicken. So we have beans, rice, and chicken so far on the shell. That looks really good. Okay, now it's eat it time, huh? Gonna start with these little tacos. shells, these little street tacos. Gonna start with just a touch of the beans and a little bit of the chicken. The shredded chicken is nice and tender. Boy, it's nice. And with these little ones, I don't have a room for very many things, so just have to put a teeny bit in. All right, and that's it for those.